said he liked the way I play my guitar. He was looking for a similar sound, trying to sell it to the suits in Midtown. And it might be nothing, but it might be something good.
Wait, I know it's been a while.
We're back.
2020. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just been a great year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, probably thinking you're really going to dig 24 days straight of whiskey after this year.
Yeah. I think it will help a lot.
Yeah. Take that down. So, welcome back to all of our veterans. And got a bunch of new people this year. So, those of you, it's your first time watching one of our videos. They're amazing.
You might think we're professionals.
No, probably not. But so I thought, we're gonna aim for like 5 to 8 minutes per night. Probably won't do it very well, but anyways, I thought what we would do is kind of just give you a quick once over of the whiskey calendar this year. Got the little boxy here. Sorry that we cut this a little close, but to get these boxes made, for some reason, they're way behind. They blame COVID. Everybody's blaming COVID this year. But what we threw in here this year was you get a little card from us, but more so a flavor wheel. So as you go through and you taste the whiskeys and you nose the whiskeys, you can kind of use this flavor wheel to help you identify maybe some of the things that you're smelling or tasting. It's on a 4x6 card, so the writing is really, really small. You'll probably be able to make out some of it on your first whiskey of the night. By the third one, there's no way.
Nope.
No. The next thing threw in there was just a little, what I call a whiskey ledger. So kind of a tasting card. So if you want to track along or have a little structured way of jotting down your notes on the whiskeys as we go through them. And we'll try to do the same thing as we go through each one. We'll talk a little bit about what we get on the nose.
Yeah.
What we get on the palate, which is the...
How it tastes, your tongue.
Good.
Yeah, I still remember.
Just your tongue. And then the finish on the whiskey. And then there's some math in there, math problem. I know the McClung girls will not do well with that. But if you want to give yourself a score, make some photocopies of these, because, kind of got tired of printing stuff off and sticking things in boxes and doing all that stuff. So, kind of gave you a little bit of a guideline. So 1 being the low end of the scale and 10 being at the top. So, from as you nose it, if you think it's really, really bad, something that really doesn't agree with you. So I gave you a little indication there. So, the 1 to 2 range, probably be like a swamp grundle.
Yeah.
Do you even know what that is?
No.
Okay.
But you say it all the time, so I have to act like I do.
Yeah, middle of the road, a 5 or 6. Like walking in, fresh smelled bread, which, by the way, you still got the timer on the pie.
No, it's out.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then finally, hey, if you love the smell of it so much you want to make soap out of it, it's a 9 or 10. In your box, if you haven't already got to that point, and I'm not really going to pick it up, but, number 1 starts down in my lower right, your lower left, goes across to 6, and then you come back to 7. Think of a typewriter. Those of you millennials out there, younger people, might not know what a typewriter is.
Well, isn't the keyboard the same?
No.
No?
No, it's ASDFG.
Oh, okay.
But go all the way through. A couple things that I'll recommend as you go through. One of the things we try to do this year with the whiskeys is keep some families together. So, like, we're going to start off today with Old Tub Bourbon. Later on in the calendar, we have Knob Creek, 12-year-old. So both made by Jim Beam. So if you want to do like a comparative testing, like just hold back, a little bit of the Old Tub and wait till you get to the Knob Creek and then taste the Knob Creek and then do a little side by side. And that way you can you can start to pick out some of the differences in a whiskey. Even if you want to do it with different scotches or different Irish whiskeys as we go through, it helps you to discern a difference between each whiskey.
Yep.
Good?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, so this year, the order for those of you that were here last year and the new one, so we're going to go in the order repeat. So this year we start with a bourbon. Tomorrow will be an Irish whiskey. Then day 3 will be a Scotch whiskey. Day 4 we'll come back to bourbon. We'll go bourbon, Irish, and Scotch. We go through the calendar. All right, Ann, tell them what we've got.
We've got Old Tub. That's all I know.
That's all you know.
That's all I know.
So where's
Remember,
Old?
I just drink it.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about you just pour it?
Okay.
So Old Tub is a Jim Beam product. Just came out in 2020.
I think you put it on too tight. I can't get it out. I'm a little nervous. That's probably part of it. I'm a little sweaty. Could you help, please, and be a gentleman? Thanks. I'll pour you first after that.
Woo, we're off to a ripping start. And we haven't even had one yet. No. So anyways, Old Tub. So Jim Beam, one of the biggest worldwide bourbon brands that are out there, white labeled bourbon. So what Old Tub is Jim Beam's been around since the 1800s and different iterations, but so this harkens back to what they call their original bourbon. So their original recipe, what they came up with, and an interesting little tidbit on this is back in the late 1800s, before glass bottles were really a thing, the Jim Beam distillery at the time wasn't called Jim Beam, but they would make the bourbon, pour it into a tub, and the customers would come with their clay pot jugs that everybody thinks of, and they would actually fill their jug out of the tub. So for the longest time, Jim Beam was actually known as Old Tub whiskey, and then I think in the 1940s they changed their name to Jim Beam, and so this harkens back to that time when it was a uncut, unfiltered, basic recipe for them. So Ann, what do you get on the nose?
I got some really good honey and vanilla a little bit, and I always get a little bit of wood smell as well.
She's still been getting the wood.
Yep. But it's very floral to me, which I don't usually get.
Yes, it's a very straightforward bourbon on the nose. You pick up a little bit of that sour mash going on in there. A little bit of caramel, which you're gonna get with your typical bourbon. Some vanilla, a little bit of hay, but pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Going in again.
I am.
Alrighty, look at you. That's just classic.
It is, and it's not very low burn, so that alcohol burn, which for me, as one that doesn't have a super strong palate, allows me to, I feel like, taste a little bit more floral and honey, and I'm getting a little caramel on the end.
Yeah, definitely caramel.
I don't want to say it's sweet, but it is a little sweeter.
No, it is, and I think the spice you're getting is more, or the heat is more. It's 100 proof or 50 horsepower. Yeah. 50% alcohol ABV. We're gonna transition to horsepower this year. So it's a younger bourbon. So you're getting that more from the proof than you are from the barrel spice, because it hasn't really been in there that long. A little bit of clove.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's super heavy on cinnamon to me, which is maybe that clove, cinnamon, that grouping of spices that usually. Good. It's very good.
Yeah. So I think almost all of these this year kind of a cool year because I think maybe only 2 or 3 out of all 24 have I had before. So we'll be experiencing these right along with you. But man, I really like
really
it.
good.
Yeah. You know, for a finish, I think it's kind of it stays with you a little bit, but it's not real full bodied. So I'm
No.
going to say like a medium to maybe medium long finish. So on your card, if you're, you know, it's definitely it's more sponge worthy. I don't know if it's toe curling thunder, but you know it's what talking about the finish.
I know. I know.
You like what kind of finish do you like in your whiskey?
A smooth one.
Oh yeah. I like that one a lot. The best thing about this one is like 20 to 24 bucks. So for
Good deal.
for a 50%, 50 horsepower bourbon, unfiltered. So it hasn't been filtered, so you're getting kind of the raw taste from it. Pretty good bourbon for the price. And the thing I think, you know, as we go through the calendar, we have what I'll call, you know, very approachable, you know, or lower priced options up to medium, and then we get a little in the upper range. But, you know, want everybody to be able to see kind of across that price spectrum what there is. And we're going to be anywhere between, you know, this one at 20, 22 bucks up to $150, $180 a bottle. And, you know, for bourbons, I think especially, you know, you can find a lot of really good bourbons in that $20 to $35 price range. Like, you don't have to kill yourself on bourbons. And I think this is a perfect example of what an everyday, you know, well drink type bourbon can do for you. And anything else to add?
Stuff. No, I was just gonna say, to me, one last, I guess, tasting note for me was honeysuckle, which was something that grew where I grew up, and I can remember you could take the flower off, and it's that sweet kind of honey, that same smell and taste in that. So.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
This will be one I think we'll keep on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know, keep at, you know, for 20, 25 bucks. Kind of hard to beat. I'm not the biggest fan of the white label Jim Beam, but I think this is tremendously different. So if you have that in your house, you know, pour this next to that and taste and compare, go back and forth and see what differences you can pick out. All right, so last thing for this year, we're going to try and do some shout outs to people, you know, who have our calendars, to where, you know, the whiskey, there might be something about the whiskey that reminds us of them. So I think it's most appropriate for this one that we do our shout out to Mark McKinney. He's kind of an old tub.
He's the old tub, a lovable old tub.
Yeah, well, we miss you, Mark. We're glad to be sharing a
Drinking
drink with you, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.